and welcome to the Cancer Journey podcast. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Shariann.
So today we're continuing our conversation that kind of extended from our coach retreat in Costa Rica. And a big part of what we talked about was the edge, the edge of as in what are your own limitations that we sometimes don't even recognize. So before we get into the definition of the edge and all of that, let's get grounded and start with Pesh. I'm going to go first. Okay, sounds good. Physically, I am a 4.5. Emotionally, I am a 4.65. Spirit is a 4.4. Hope is a 4.65. And my word is trust.
Okay. Physically, 4.3. Emotionally, a 4.4. Spirit, 4.6. Hope, 4.5. And my word is flow.
So the edge. So when we were on the coach retreat, we specifically do workshops throughout, and they obviously all connect. They're not just like random workshops that have completely separate focuses. They follow a lineage. And so if you're following it as the Cancer Journey roadmap in that sort of bell shape with a higher tier at the end, the lowest part of our bell shape is the edge. Shariann, tell me more about the intention before going into the retreat that you had in choosing the edge.
Well, we had a couple of themes. I mean, aliveness was definitely like the overarching theme. And that was because we were really tapping into the essence of Costa Rica, which is all about aliveness. Everywhere, everything that you look at, it's alive. And so we were thinking, well, how does aliveness play in our leadership, us showing up as leaders in the world? And then it kind of flowed directly into, and what gets in the way? And that's the edge. And so, in order for us to grow as leaders, we need to be able to notice and see what our edge is. And then, because we're in the coach retreat, it created this wonderful bubble. And I really do mean it when I say bubble, because it's this container of safety and seeing people for who they really are and being vulnerable enough to show up in that way so that we can be held by the group, by this bubble, to lean into wherever we need to lean into. And so that's where the edge part came in. It's like, okay, we've got this really safe bubble that we're creating. So why don't we do some really great personal and professional growth work if everybody agrees? And the lovely thing about our coaches is that they trust us. They trust who we are. They trust our wisdom and our curriculum. And so it was like, okay, let's not jump over at the edge. Let's walk up to the edge with everything that's really us. So for us, that is your essence formula, your values, your strengths, and your purpose essence. Loaded those with in your pockets, and you just come with that. And now let's move towards the edge to see what's there for me to learn, for me to grow from, for me to stretch into.
So as a participant and somewhat a co-leader, not specifically on the edge piece, more so with strengths on my part in the leading, but mainly taking it on as a participant and being super open, of course, trusting my leaders and knowing that even as a leader, this is not when my moment to lead was, and not the edge was not my moment to lead, especially because edge is, it's part of our curriculum, but it's not a big part of our curriculum in using it as like a concept called the edge. Like we say the edge more often in our supervisions, which are one-on-ones with one of our master coaches, to really focus in on an individual coach's like their technique, their style, how they're doing their coaching and what makes them unique. And so often in those times, we talk about their edge because that's the thing that's really preventing them from sinking in and really being a part of the work and just like the trusting of yourself. So for me personally too, having less experience with this than Shariann, who's been leading those supervisions and talking about the edge and talking to coaches for many, many, many years, training, working with them, training with them. the edge was a very hard concept for me personally because I was looking for a clear definition of it and how to find it, right? Which I think that sometimes we seek clarity because we're feeling lost and because we have this resistance to the unknown. Like we need everything to be fine because if we don't know something, we feel like we can't trust it. So the edge was a very hard concept for me. Some of the ways that we described it and tried to kind of latch onto it during the workshops was investigating your fears, investigating your negative ego. And for me, negative ego, I love talking about negative ego. I feel very akin to the concept, but when it shows up, it's a different thing altogether. But that was kind of how I was starting to latch on to the idea of the edge.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's if you could close your eyes and just visualize yourself walking to the edge of a cliff. And why is it a cliff? Because that's where you start feeling that anxiety, the fear. I mean, I know there are cliff jumpers and there's people who are excited about that, and that's wonderful. But most of us kind of like tiptoe our way to the edge of the cliff. And part of it the fear that shows up is we think we're going to fall off, right? Fall into the abyss, fall into the unknown. It's like, no, 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 I don't know what's over there, that edge. So I'm just going to fear it. And so we'll back up. We'll back up from the edge and just stay over here where it's comfortable. But what I think we're discovering, and you have something to say about this, Alicia, is that the edge is really imaginary. The one that we're afraid of, not that cliff. And if you encounter a cliff, be cautious because you don't know. But that personal imaginary cliff. Say more about that.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, I was kind of struggling to really latch on to the idea. I understand it conceptually, and I totally am on board with the visual of a cliff and the edge and that anxiety. Like sometimes you can feel it, especially if you're scared of heights and you look down at something. Like it's kind of that way, it's that fear, right? And so that was the way I was getting it before. But just the other day, and the reason Shariann knows that I thought about this is because of course I'm texting her about it. And I was like, I had an epiphany. The cliff isn't real. It's an illusion. It's imaginary, and it's almost like a veil. Like you think that it's a cliff, but actually you step over it and it's like something completely different, right? It's not at all what you think it is, and it's not a cliff at all. It's an edge only in spirit. It's not a real edge, because when we think of the edge of a cliff, we think we're going to fall and die. Like it's not just, oh, we're gonna trip a little bit. No, we think that's the end of the line. There is nothing more over there. And I think that's part of the visual that was like hard for me, because I can feel myself walking to the edge of a cliff. Of course, in my brain, I'm a lot more brave in my imagination. And I'm like, yeah, I could stand at the edge of a cliff. But if I in real life am standing at the edge of a cliff, I'm not getting closer than a foot away, if not 3 feet. Like that is terrifying. But for a conceptual edge of what am I too scared to cross because I don't know what's on the other side, it's not a cliff at all. It's literally just a figment of your imagination. It's like walking through a curtain, or I think I use this analogy for Shariann. It's like there's a curtain down with a line across it that says, do not enter. You don't question it. You don't enter because it says do not enter, right? And this is a curtain of your own imagination, really. Like, who put that curtain there? Why can't you cross it? What belief has you thinking that you need to not enter because it says do not enter? Like, did you put it there? Did someone else put it there? And what happens if you go through it? What's on the other side? You have no idea. What if it's like literally paradise on the other side? What if it's freedom? What if it's everything you want and value on the other side of that curtain, but you've never thought to even ask what's on the other side? So that was my big epiphany with the edge, and it feels like I can cross the edge, because when it's a cliff edge, it does not feel like I can cross the edge.
But there's a saying, and I don't know who says it, but it's like everything that you want is on the other side of fear.
Yeah.
And so it speaks so much to what you just said about the curtain. And it's like well, two things came up. One is, Wizard of Oz and the man behind the curtain who's pulling all the strings. And then the other one is an analogy that we use often, which is the monster underneath the bed. It's the fear of doom and gloom that something bad is going to happen if I go through the curtain, or if I, you know, reach too close to the cliff, or if I look underneath the bed, which I used to think were, monsters who would, if I dangled my feet off the bed, they would start, trying to grab me down and into like hot dark lava or something. I mean, the imagination can run totally amok when it is the unknown, when it is an edge. And we're almost using it interchangeably, but they're not. Like the unknown is clearly something that you don't know. The edge has more of a visceral anxiety, texture, energy to it. And it's like, no, like my hands are shaking, like, no, something bad is gonna happen. Don't go there. Uh, And that's enough to stop us.
Yeah. So I actually I've changed perspectives in this visual of the edge. So instead of standing on a cliff, standing at the edge, I'm actually underneath the cliff and I can see the edge above me. And so if I can make the effort to climb it, knowing that it won't be easy, knowing that I I have an idea what's up there, but I don't really know, but I know the view is going to be really nice from up there. Like for me, that actually and I just thought about that. That's not something I was talking to Shariann about before. Like that makes a lot more sense. It's like actually the edge is up there. It's not a fall. It's not a sink. It's something that you can still attain. It's there. You can see
Mm.
kind of the light peeking out above the edge, right? And so once you make your way up there, however long, whatever way you choose to do that, it can be long, it can be short. The faster you get to those possibilities that are out there, that expanse, that full wide view of what is possible. And so climbing tools and like a surprise hidden route to get up there, maybe there's stairs that kind of reveal themselves, those are your allies that help you get there. They're your allies that help you get over the edge.
And I so get that. I mean, it's the attainment, it's the stretching, it's the growing, and what comes up for me, because I am clear that I have edges, not just one edge, many edges. That the fear of, and yes, I am afraid of heights. I say it's not a height thing; it's more gravity, because I'm afraid of falling. And what is it about falling that your life is over? Okay, so that's the epitome. But more, it's like, well, then I fell, and I kind of feel like there's a brokenness to it. Like I'm broken because I I lost my footing or something. But there's that fear of, hmm, I'm not whole. Right over here in this comfort zone, I feel whole. But if I try anything else out there, I'm going to lose a part of me. And that's much more on the negative side, because on, okay, here's the positivity of me. On the side of, well, what if that you are going to lose is what's holding you back? Then it's like, oh, well, then there's growth. There's a positive element towards it. So I can, I'm a Libra. I can do back and forth on pros, cons, and both sides all day long. But getting clear on my understanding of the fear of that edge, whatever it is, because I'll hit an edge and then I'll be like, okay, now I'm here. And then there'll be another edge to conquer. And I do think, okay, now having said all of that, as we keep coming up to our edge and we feel, the words brave and courageous are just feel kind of not simplistic, because they're just like overused words like empowerment. If I'm willing to step forward, then, ooh, what just came up is that word that you used for today, trust. If I trust me, that whatever happens, I will still have me. That feels in the realm of self-love, self-confidence, self-belief. Then I'll be okay. so then I can move past the edge.
Yeah. And so I feel like this whole idea of like, well, if I don't make it, I've learned a lesson thing comes up a lot here in this kind of instance, especially like I'm reaching towards the edge. I'm trying to get over the edge to whatever lies beyond it. And I take a tumble backward, right? And when you said broken, I thought that was really interesting because that is a very, for lack of a better term, dramatic way to think of it as I'm broken. Because what came to mind for me was hurt. It's like I'll get hurt
Mm,
if I fall. But you went all the way to broken. And so I was like, oh wow. And that's interesting because you did have a fall
I
where you got
know.
hurt. And so
I
it was
know.
so interesting as you were saying that because I was like, were you broken after that? And that fall happened during the retreat. So I just, it did rattle you, but gosh, the lesson you learned out of it and all of the lessons that you continued to pull out of it and saying, I think there's another lesson here. I think there's another lesson here, completely without being prompted either. You were like, because it made you stop, it made you think, and maybe you were heading to overcome the edge, and so this was your tumble back that you needed clarity on. But what comes to mind for me too is that no matter how many times you fall, you get back up and you're back where you are again because you aren't broken. You have not lost pieces of yourself. You're still wholly you. Now, albeit your literal fall was a little bit scarier than the metaphorical fall we're talking about. And we are very happy and lucky that it only went as far as it did. It wasn't like you didn't get a concussion or anything worse than that, which we're so happy for that. But it, you're still whole because if you didn't even try to go up, you wouldn't have learned any of that lesson. You would have just stayed right here. And the more times you try to attempt to peak your edge, right, or peak the mountain or whatever it is, the more you learn along the way. And even just that experience of trying will tell you so much about like what it meant to stay where you were without changing, right? And it almost makes you like, oh my god, I can't stay here, like I need to keep trying. Even if it's not the right mountain, you learn that that's not the right mountain. Actually, that's not the view I want. There's another one here though that I do want to go towards, but you also literally never know until you try. And you stay complacent the more that you try to stay the same and not change anything in your life.
Okay, I need to jump in here because I can see the correlation to the cancer journey of when cancer comes into your life, whether it's as you are a patient or you're a caregiver, because those are still, I mean, you're on a journey. That when you hit that pit of feels kind of like the fall, like this is happening to me, what do I do with it? And there's a choice point, right? To get out of the pit, the edge, we know that the you need to let go of something that's no longer serving you. We are sometimes blind to whatever it is in our life that we need to let go of, and we do need a hit in the head or something to just go, hello, can we talk? It's your body's way of saying, can we talk, because this isn't working. So let's find what's going on. And I mean, you're talking about the physical fall on my head that I had, but I'm just going back to the cancer and all of the times where it was, stop, stop. The path that you're taking, for me, the path that you're taking is not going to lead where you want to go. So let's just take this really big, much needed pause, because you're abusing your body, you're abusing, you're not in sync. And let's get back to you. And that might feel too in your face or too confrontational, but that was my experience. And so I offer that up as, hey, cancer is a wake up call.
Yeah. I was gonna say, sometimes for a lot of people, when they're on the cancer journey roadmap, the same thing that this trajectory with the edge is mapped on, the fall into the pit, the initiation, that is getting your cancer diagnosis and being in it and thrust into that. And while this is the full cancer journey, it's not like, oh, to get out of the pit, you get over cancer. That's not what that's not the thing that you let go when we're talking about this, especially because you don't really have control over having cancer, right? Like, as a diagnosis, it is happening to you. In your body, it is happening to you. So it actually calls for a relinquishing of control. And sometimes we're clinging to every possible morsel of ourselves, right? When cancer is still here because we think that it's the thing that's taking everything away from us. It's like, no, cancer can be the sign. It can be the message. It is here for you, and it is usually impacting your life greatly because it's sweeping out all of the stuff that didn't matter, that doesn't actually matter. It's not taking it away from you. It's reminding you that actually you matter more than all this other stuff. Now, I understand practically that doesn't always land, right? Because some people might think that I'm saying, like, okay, you have cancer and it means that you can't work anymore and you weren't meant to work. That's not what I mean. I understand livelihood. I understand the practical things. I'm not saying that, you're helping your family a lot before and now you have cancer and you can't help your family anymore. That's not what we're saying. But we're saying you need to matter more in the equation. How do you feel about your work? How do you feel about your family? How do you fit into all of those equations? Not just what you can do for everyone else. How do you matter? And for those who don't have cancer in their lives, sometimes it's even hard to see that picture because it really wipes the slate clean and lets you get to the core of, like, okay, this is me experiencing cancer and I matter. So I get to come first. For those who aren't on a cancer journey, sometimes it's like, that feels selfish and wrong. And who are you to say what everyone feels? But really, when it's you having an illness, not anyone else, you do need to matter because you need to care for yourself first. Even if this is the first time you've ever done it, your body is telling you, you need this right now. And so as you're going through that, what we help with at the Cancer Journey Institute are the emotions, the mental space, the spiritual space you're in, so that you can navigate it without feeling like the whole burden of it is on you, as if your entire being is weighing on you alone to fix everything, because you can't fix your cancer alone. There's
Yep.
a lot of asking for help on this journey, and we are not here to tell you how to do anything. We're here to tell you that whatever is coming up, anger, fear, sadness, skepticism, like all of those things, and much more, they're welcome in this space because you're human and you have emotions and they're real. And so once you start giving space for those emotions and letting yourself cry about something or scream about something or laugh about something, you start to release that and you can come back to what really matters. And your body will not be like this through cancer, which, by the way, no one's body heals very quickly. You're like this through cancer. It can't.
Right. Right. Well, talk about an edge. I mean, it's the edge. And what Alicia's speaking to is that container that we create, that bubble that I was just talking about. It's not a, oh, I'm going to bubble myself up and just be in this bubble. It's this container that the coaching relationship creates so that you can get to the core, the epiphany, the what the edge is and why it's here, so that you can learn from it and grow from it. And so I mean, it all fits together and it's appropriate. And because we have this experience, or I've had this experience, Alicia's had this experience as a caregiver, that we get to look at the circumstances to get to the core of what really needs to be processed. And that's that container that we allow you to do. And that's a container we provide so that you can do the processing, so that you can get to what really needs your attention with all the noise of the world. I want to say, and I know somebody's going to just like want to kick me off the curb, but there is a gift of cancer. And then when you're in it, you can't see it, and that's okay. But to have somebody there to help point out signs or what's going on, or really getting you and understanding what's happening to you during this journey is probably the most healing thing that you could have. And that's what we really want you to offer yourself, and to see that it's not something that, oh, when I was growing up, a massage used to be pampering. It's a necessity, especially when you're on a cancer journey.
Yeah. I mean, I love you saying that or speaking of the relationship of cancer and the edge, like cancer is an edge, and the experience of cancer, not the physical illness itself, but being in cancer as an emotional experience is a big edge. And there's, because it's not like normal to learn about what it's like to have cancer, we have so many assumptions, we have so many expectations about what cancer is going to be like, and all of those, fueled by our negative ego telling us all the meanest, craziest things, build up an edge. And an edge is like what makes you feel safe within yourself, but at the same time, it's not safe to keep that because it's holding you back, which is why for me it's so negative ego related. And the reason that we feel so deeply about needing a cancer journey coach on this journey is because as much as you feel safe on your own and you feel safe to yourself, you're also the meanest to yourself. Like we are the absolute meanest to ourselves. We say things that people would never say to us. You know, like we say things people aren't even thinking about us in that way, but we will say the meanest things to ourselves. And we have no one to process and express all of those things to, unless you have someone who can do the work of a cancer journey coach, who really holds this extremely safe space, who is like, they're a parachute when you're climbing up the edge, right? They are like the soft thing that's there with you that helps guide you up this mountain or whatever it is to get over the edge, so that it's safe to even peek up over the edge to see what's there. Because when you're doing it alone, there's even just the fear of like, no one's here if I fall. No one will see me.
Right.
And then we start getting to like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. I don't, and all of this stuff. So when you have a coach who can reflect to you what you're expressing, you can start to let down the walls that you have built yourself, the edges you have built yourself, and get to what you really want. Because at the end of the day, only you know what you really, really want. What fills you with joy, what feels really good to you. Only you know that. And your coach helps guide you there, but they don't tell you where to go. And that's my takeaway.
Okay.
That and the edge is an illusion. My big aha. Physically, I am a 4.5, emotionally a 4.65, spirit is a 4.6, and hope is a 4.65. My word is clarity.
Okay. My takeaway is I love the edge is an illusion. And it's not like, oh, it's just pretend. It's just a construct that we've created that gives us this sense of feeling safe and protected. Where as human beings, we are supposed to grow. We're not supposed to stay static or stagnant. And it just feels, technical word, yucky to be stagnant or static. So I guess the takeaway is that quote: everything we want is on the other side of fear, is on the other side of the edge. So please, please, please be willing to step across the edge. And if you want that safe container and bubble or companion to help you, call us, email us, go to our website and drop us a line. And my pesh. Physically, I'm a 4.4, emotionally 4.7, spirit clarity.
We're very clear, which is great. And it's not because we're searching, it's just because it came to us. And so I'm very grateful to have this space to be able to find that clarity and have it reflected to me, because I can't do this alone, and neither can you. So thank you everyone for being here. We'll be back next week with a new episode.
Have a lovely rest of your day, and remember, you're more powerful than you realize.